Hey guys, Majin Glacier here. Just gonna talk about a lot of stuff with season 6 and going forward. Glacier, where you been? You had a
Hey man,
sabbatical and
how's it
stuff.
going, dude? It has been a week. It has been a day. I am glad that we're finishing up finals. We got our last finals going on tonight. Collegiate division playing both the finals and the third place match. Um yeah, I can't wait, dude. It's been a crazy season. It's been a good season overall. And I can't wait to get
Absolutely.
into season 6, man.
Me
I just can't
either.
wait.
Me either. I will say that just in case you guys aren't aware, so we're gonna have a broadcast tomorrow. I think it's the Spartans division finals that we were able to record before the patch wipe, and then Sunday at 5 we will have the finals for collegiate. And these are all Eastern time, by the way. And
Yeah.
then on Monday we're looking to cast the third place match for collegiate, and then season's over. From that, and we can move on to season 6. So, what's the first thing you want to talk about for season 6, Glacier?
All right, let's look at the list. All right, first thing that we've been getting a lot of questions about is the split from the org. We
Yeah,
started under Albion Giants. You brought me into Albion Giants forever ago, back when I was running Miss just for the competitive teams that I was coaching and stuff. And
true.
it's been a minute that we were with AG, and it's a little bit confusing to people. We're keeping the name, the branding, and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
And it's been something that we're getting a lot of questions about. Without getting into too many details, I'll just give a quick synopsis of things in the order that they happened. Um, and I'm not gonna offer any opinion or anything like that. Just kind of what happened, when it happened, and then what it resulted in.
yeah,
So
absolutely.
Sherix ended up stepping down from the org, from leadership. A couple months after I ended up stepping down from the league, when I not from the league, from the org, when I took a sabbatical from the league, I said, "Hey, I'm completely done doing org stuff as well." And so I kind of took a step back from that. Took a step back from the league for a couple months before coming back in for about the last month or so. And then after Sherix left, the new management were discussing what we're going to do, how we're going to go forward. The new owners specifically. Schedules didn't link up for a while, and then I had asked Sherix in June for the ownership of the league Discord, because we were discussing as a league potentially rebranding, potentially keeping Albion Giants, potentially approaching a different org to partner with them. And we weren't really sure what we were going to do, and we just wanted to make sure that we had the freedom to do whatever we ended up wanting to do, and without running into any potential hostage situations. And so about a month later, I still hadn't got an answer, still hadn't really gotten the ownership of the league, and he was in the middle of a move and stuff. It wasn't that big of a deal. So
Right.
I asked again. I was like, "Hey, can I get the ownership of the server to make sure Majin and I can run whatever we want to run?" And he said, "You're gonna have to check with one of the new owners. I'm pretty sure he wants ownership of the server." I replied probably a little bit more harshly than I needed to, but the gist of my reply was that this guy hasn't been involved in the league from day one, isn't relevant to the league, and our agreement from the beginning is that the league was, you and I were running the league. It was us
Right.
with AG, not us for AG as much, if that makes sense.
Right.
And so I went off a little bit. I said, no, that guy's not relevant to it at all. I should not have to clear it by someone who has never really done anything for the league. I'd appreciate it if you just give me ownership. Somehow that ended up getting back to him. He did not care for that. He did not like it. We had a bit of an argument. I'm not going to get into details, but the argument was bad enough that a different member of the administration for the org quit on the spot. And then Sherix, when he woke up the next morning and read the argument, handed me the keys to the server without saying anything else and said sorry. To the guy's credit, he DM'd me to apologize. And he said he's sorry how things ended. He wishes nothing for the best going forward. And we've got a good relationship with the org at this time. But we did end up fully splitting from the org. And then talking with them in the weeks following, it does seem like, correct me if I'm wrong on this, but it does seem like they're going to be rebranding. They're going to keep the old socials. They're going to keep the old Twitch, the old Twitter that we've been using.
Right.
But they're
That's
going to end up
100%.
rebranding those. And then we're going to keep moving forward under the Albion Giants League moniker, not just Albion Giants, as we're not an org that does content and turning and everything, but just specifically the Albion Giants League, keeping the Kaiju Giant alive. And and moving forward with our new socials that we'll end up having to rebuild over time. But that's kind of the gist of what ended up happening, why we still have Albion Giants name, even though we split with them, everything like that. If anyone has questions about any of that, feel free. Colin, I'm going to be honest with you. The fact that you don't play Discordia in some of your guys' league games just ruins me. Just every single time I look in at your screenshots and there's not a Discordia, I just sob inside for stud not getting that passive. I don't know, man. I don't know what else to say.
I mean, if we're not giving stud the passive, we're giving it to somebody else, right? By not
Yeah.
giving it to anybody that's not making use of it at the time.
Yeah, no, for sure.
It's
But do you have
it's a
anything else to
buff.
say about what happened with the split though? Because I do want to make sure I cover everything, and I do want to be fair to the org as well. But I think I kind of went through everything.
Yeah, I think everything's pretty much, you nailed like everything from point A to point B, like directly on the timeline. Like, I wish nothing but the best for the org moving forward. But you know what? It's just best for us to be on our own, like we pretty much already have been anyway. Just we were with
Yeah,
AG, and the people with AG that aren't there anymore makes it even more hard to want to be with the org itself as well. But
yeah,
um,
for sure. I get what
I
you mean.
think,
Yeah,
yeah, I 100% agree with everything you've went through. So
because like Sherrick's was that org.
yeah,
like
absolutely.
his passion, him and Aluk, and then like there were a bunch of people that made up a lot of what happened at that org. But those two guys were the passion that was that org's personality for a long time. And without them, it's just there is no way to replicate someone's passion like that. You can be as good as you want to be at something. You can be as professional as you want to be, but you're not going to be able to replicate that love for the org, that love for something that they made. So it's just going to be a different beast moving forward.
Yeah, it's going to be different, but maybe we should move forward at this point. So,
Yeah.
next thing on the docket, what do we got?
I think we're looking at the schedule for season 6. So we announced relegation's exact schedule for that's going to be August 14th. We already had decided on the date, but we did go ahead and decide that that's going to start at 12 noon Eastern time. That is PM. That is lunchtime. That is following the morning. I have had questions about what 12 p.m. noon means already. I'm not sure why, but I have. And 12 p.m. noon is the one while the sun is in the middle of the sky, after breakfast and before supper. so
He
that's when
had to
that's when it's
do it.
gonna start. That's when that's gonna start. And then
Oh
we're
god.
gonna give ourselves a little bit of time to make sure we get all the teams set up, all the eligibility double checked, do the best we can to set up divisions and stuff well. And we're gonna go ahead and start our regular season on August 22nd. We'll have 7 weeks of round robin play that'll end October 10th, and then the divisional championship will be the week of October 17th through the week of Halloween. And then we'll be done on that. We're going to do the exact same divisional championship format that we did this season. I think it went a lot better than season 4, and I think the
Oh
changes
yeah.
that I'm not even going to claim credit. I think the changes that you and the guys made while I wasn't here, I think they were phenomenal. I thought the division championships went really well this season. So it's going to be top 6 from each division. First and seconds are going to get a first round bye. And then quarters and semis are going to be best of 3. Finals are going to be best of 5. Just as they were this season. And we will go on from there. But yeah, that's the schedule. You guys can find that in the season 6 info channel in the Discord server as well. And then, yeah, that's what we've got for the schedule. And then with the relegations, we are changing the way we're doing them. We've been doing best of 1, best of 2 tournaments. We've been starting later in the day. But for the relegations, we've decided that we're going to switch up the way we do it. We're going to put people in groups of people that they signed up for. And the size of your group is going to depend on how many signups that we have. And everyone's going to play round robin so that everyone gets to play more games so that we can more accurately seed people. Because people who got knocked out in the first round, maybe they just got seeded against a really good team. People who got knocked out in the second round, maybe they got against the number 1 team and the number 2 team, and we have no way to tell how they play against the lower seeded teams. So we're going to do the best that we can to make sure everyone gets to play more games. So plan on showing up and playing at least 5 best of 1 games. We're going to look to, if possible, have groups of 6 to 8. So people are going to play 5 to 7 best of 1 games, no more than 7, hopefully, no less than 5. Again, hopefully, signups permitting. But I think that's just about everything on the relegations changes, unless you know something that I did not mention.
No, I think that covers it. Because we've done the double win best of 1. Like, is it 2 seasons in a row? And like last season, it kind of got scuffed when Challenge went down, and we wouldn't be able to
We
look at
didn't have a
everything.
way to finish it, yeah.
Yeah, so we just had to do the best of what we could with what we had. So I think starting at A, earlier in the day when it's not going to be so busy, and then B, being able to track this over a guaranteed 5 to 7 games. Well, hopefully guaranteed 5 to 7 games. It just makes it better and more proving for the teams that should be in and what teams should be
Yeah,
on the waiting list.
exactly. And I think that's a big deal. I think that's something that's gonna help us make better decisions about where teams should be. I think it's probably the best way to say that. Okay, we've got, let's see, the next thing on the list would be staff changes. Spirited, I think really if we look at 5 games minimum, a lot of those games aren't going to be super long games. You'd be playing for like 2 or 3 hours with break time. I think, if you go more than 3 hours of total game time with 5 relegation games, I would be a little bit surprised. And no, I'm not that worried about it. I do think that it's a little bit more than we'd expect people to play on a regular week, but I also think relegations is a bit more important than a regular week.
I think so.
So, do I think it's possible? Then yeah. But I also think it's better for us to have more games, to have more info on where to place people.
That
So
and
I think it's worth it.
speaking of like the thought, if it takes you 3 hours and 5 games, like most of the time when we see these relegation games, they only last 22 to 25 minutes. So it's not like, I mean, of course you're gonna have your outlier, like this game took 35, this game took 40, whatever, but it's not every game. Like
Yeah.
95% of the games are 25 or less. So.
And the other thing is when we're not doing a best of 2, we're not going to have teams waiting 20, 30, 40 minutes.
Oh no, not at all.
For their next round as they wait on losers bracket towards the end of the day. And I mean, we've had teams wait a little over an hour before for a game. And so this does also take away that with double elim. So at the end of the day, I think it'll end up being better. I do think that teams might be encountering a little bit of burnout towards the end of the day. But yeah, we're shooting for 5, may have 7. We'll kind of take it by ear as we have it. I'm just giving you guys the information that we have. All right, staff changes. We've made some changes to the administration. Majin, if you have the season 6 stuff doc open, do you want to go over most of that, or do you want me to? Because I think I've gone over the first several things. If you want to go over you're gonna go over that, I think. Yeah, it's all in there. It's all in the season 6 doc.
Grab that real quick. I have the rules one up. I forgot to pull that up.
Oh no, you're good, man.
I'm a troll.
Plus, I can start.
I got C money in the chat. Like I got to be nervous.
Yeah.
We don't know how to peel for each other yet, so I don't know how he's gonna take it.
Yeah, I would be distracted too. Like having a player in the league that looks like more of a boomer than either of us is genuinely concerning. So
he went there.
I understand the distraction. But yeah, so changes to management. A couple things that we've done, rather than having a lot of the administrators and the management just be management and administrators. Everyone's going to have specific things that they're in charge of, that they're over, that they're going to handle moving forward. First things first, Majin and I are now the co-owners of the league. And so I'm going to be handling operations. I'm going to be running operations manager day to day. He's going to be handling the collegiate. He's going to be fully over the collegiate division, broadcast. And then, Majin, he's not going to have his hands in every single pot ever. So he'll be helping out with ops stuff as well. But the biggest stuff that he's going to handle is how we're looking in our collegiate side of things, while I handle the NA side of things and more of the day-to-day operations. And then moving down from there, we've got the rest of the administrators. If you kind of want to take us through that and take us kind of what everyone's role is going to be moving forward.
Yeah. So as far as the administrators go, Aluk or Alakiva, formerly as he was known, he did some of the social media stuff towards the end of the AG side of stuff, but
Yeah,
um, he's going to do that for us, and he also designed what you see on your screen right now. All all the graphics that we've had this season are thanks to him and the time he spent to do everything. So um, that's always a great thing. Angasari, as always, will be over pricing. I'm helping, as Glacier said. I don't. It's like I have my hand in everything, but I try to help everybody as best I can. So
yeah,
I'm helping him with that as well. We are moving up Phil Yarn and Illicit Sleet to both be collegiate admins. I was doing it this season, but for me to be able to help everyone, I need to not have one solid thing I'm looking at. And these two are great. They've been around the community for a long time, known them both for a
yeah.
while, and they're just awesome people, so they deserve it. I trained Narwhal to take over broadcast production last season. I only did EU and collegiate. Going forward, he's going to do it all. Of course, we're not going to have EU anymore. That was announced a
He's been
couple
doing
weeks
a
ago.
phenomenal job too.
Yeah, absolutely. He's been on
Yeah, like
time.
yeah,
He's made adjustments whenever people have brought it up the last minute thing. I mean, he's been doing a great
yeah,
job at
for
it.
sure,
So
for sure.
shout out to him. Maganar is last season and seasons before he was the North American admin, but since we are only North America now, that's not really a role, right? So
Yeah.
he's going
Well,
to be
to put that in perspective, it was like it was we had a North American admin that handled all that kind of stuff, and then we had a
yeah,
global admin who was handling all of our overseas leagues, if you will.
yeah.
But now it's again, it's a little bit more irrelevant. I just wanted to, for the people who don't know how we work day in day out, I just wanted to point that out.
Oh
Sorry.
yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's easy. It's easy to miss over because like they don't know everything that we do.
Yeah.
So he's going to be our rules enforcement. So if there's any rules problems that need to go past the commissioner, or the admin that's helping the commissioner, he's going to be the guy that's taking care of that. And then the overall player experience about the league, all that goes to Ted Listens. He's been moved up as well, did a fantastic job, not only for his
Yeah.
division
Yeah.
as a commissioner, but also always helping others out, always on the top of help desk. Learned production for gas broadcast. Matter of fact, last week wouldn't have happened if it wasn't for
Yeah.
Ted.
Yeah.
So I mean, the
No, he's been
promotion,
phenomenal.
promotion, set way a long time ago,
Yeah.
and then after that,
I think I put it this way: you promote some people because you want to, you promote other people because you need to, and he's the second.
yeah, absolutely. I
Yeah.
think I mean that's a guy that I would have wanted to like a long time ago, like not knowing like his work ethic, but knowing his work ethic, seeing what he's done. It's definitely we're going to for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. For
He
sure.
definitely fits that second bill in that situation. So commissioners, this is going to be a little bit different. So should we talk about how divisions are going to work now before we get into this,
Well,
or should we?
I think we can kind of talk about that. Yeah, I did just want to make a clarification with Moggy and Ted. So Mog, being the rules guy, he's going to handle all competitive disputes. He's going to handle all this guy broke this rule X way. He's going to be the guy that is overseeing all of that stuff. He's not just going to be you used a band skin bad, you combat pause bad, but he's going to be making sure that all of the competitive integrity of the league and of the players is handled. And then Ted's going to handle more of the moderation side, more of the logistics side. He's going to be head over all of the commissioners, making sure all of them are doing a great job for you guys in your division. He's going to be handling moderation of the Discord. He's going to be handling basically like we said, he is the guy that's going to make sure all the players have a good experience. And I can't think of anyone that I'd rather have there than him. Like Majin said, he's been doing a phenomenal job this season. And I genuinely just wish we had put him on staff sooner, if anything.
Yeah, I
But yeah,
agree.
commissioners. So let's see. I think that division changes kind of go in with commissioners. So do you want to
Yeah,
talk about the division changes or do you want to talk about the commissioners?
I'll hit the division changes real quick. So
Okay, sounds good.
as far as you guys have been aware, we've had this season there were 9 different divisions for NA, not including collegiate. That's a whole other entity in
Or
itself,
EU or
or
OCE.
EUOCE.
Yeah.
So NA having 9 divisions, meaning you have 72 teams playing in this league for just NA is absolutely insane. So of course you've got to have a rank guideline to make sure everything is as equal as it can possibly be. It'll never be perfect, but you can do what you can do.
Yeah.
So one of those things in the beginning we felt like we needed back in season 2, bridge divisions. So if you look at Spartans and Challengers, Spartans is gold to plat, Challengers is a plat to diamond. We're no longer going to have those type of divisions. They're not needed anymore. So we're gonna go strictly gold and below, strictly plat, strictly diamond, and strictly open or masters, whatever you want to refer to it as that. So, but in the same sense, we're kind of keeping a little bit of how those other 2 divisions worked. So gold and below is you can have what did we decided up to 2 plat players with certain criteria, right? Something like that.
I don't think there's a number, but I do think we talked about player eligibility. I think we talked about
Yeah.
how like what level you can be at what time. I know we wrote it out in our document. I'm not sure if it actually ended up in the rules document, but that can be fixed. I'm looking through the rules
Right.
right now, looking for it. And I'm actually not 100% sure that we ended up moving that over publicly. But basically, what
Right.
we're going to do is if you're going to be in gold at the start of the season, uh, gold players can be up to plat 3, up to 1800 MMR, and gold players can improve to plat 1 or 1900 ish MMR with no issues. If you get into diamond, if you stay super high plat 1, if you clear 2k MMR, it'll be individually reviewed on a case by case basis. Now, I don't want to say that you can't improve during the league. I don't want to say that we are hard locking it at a specific rank for a specific player. But what we're doing is we're setting up a set of guidelines to say if you don't fit this bracket, we're going to look at your performance, we're going to look at your history, we're going to look at you really closely individually to determine if you individually impact the competitive integrity of the games that you're in. Then the guidelines, the bracket
Absolutely.
for the plat division at the start, allowed to start up to diamond 3, 2150-ish. And then you can improve to diamond 1, 2350-ish. If you get into masters or if you clear 2400 mmr, it'll be an individually reviewed situation again. And then in diamond, you're allowed to hit masters, because I understand that the difference between a diamond player and a masters player before you get super high up is just the amount of time you spend in the game on a daily basis. That's generally all it is for
Yeah.
the high diamond players. But if
Exactly.
you clear 2700 solidly, you're going to be reviewed. And then if you clear and stay above 3000, you're just ineligible, period. Unless we find some vastly extenuating circumstance for the diamond. And then obviously open is going to be open as the name suggests. And then, yeah, if you want to hit real quick, the divisions according to the rank, our new rule about not off rolling in lower divisions. If you want to talk through that real quick.
Yeah, absolutely. So, you may play in a division according to your rank as a player. You will not be allowed to play in divisions below your rank. This includes off rolling to play with friends. This includes your. This will us like section A. A section B would be like player history and performance within the league and other community tournaments and leagues will be also considered. And then also players may appeal an eligibility ruling on a case by case basis once per season if they can bring evidence that was not previously considered to the administration. And then lastly, to sum that all up, management may approve players based off of their history and performance in the league, regardless of their rank. If you don't mind, I'd like to give an example because I think it's important.
Absolutely.
So, this season we had a player in Spartans who is always in silver and gold no matter what season it is across the last couple seasons, no matter what split it is, how far in season. They hit Masters 2400 because they were queuing with a GM player that carried them all the way there. Their play never changed. They never got better as a player. You could tell by the way they played the game. So in that case, we could allow that player to play in the gold to the plat division because that's where they fit. They didn't fit below. They could have played below maybe, but that was probably the best place for them to be based on their history, based on knowing the player and not seeing any kind of change in their performance. So those kind of things could be approved or denied by management in the long term.
Yeah, absolutely. And I went ahead while you're talking and added all of that into the actual rules because I don't think I ended up switching that over from our document to the rules. But that's under 2.4 player eligibility, starting at G if anyone wants to read the exact ruling there. And then, well, it's current rank, but then we also take into account history when we look through Smite Guru as we do eligibility checks.
Yeah, so Simony, for your question, we'll see you're like silver 3 right now, but we know you're copper 2. It's okay. It's cool.
No, it's fine. We unfortunately we checked with Hi-Rez. We're not allowed to make a Charmin Ultra Soft League for you.
Man, that's so
But
disappointing.
we're gonna keep asking them every season. Eventually they'll give in.
It reminds me of that license plate I've been seeing the last couple of weeks at MMR 505. I've seen all over town. Like it's follows me everywhere, man.
All right, so let's see. That's relegations. That's new division changes. All right,
Should
let's
probably
talk
should probably
returning
leap back to commissioners first.
Oh, you're
Because
right. We did
that's
forget
what
about
started
that.
this whole thing.
I
Was we
appreciate you
wanted
keeping my ADHD in check. I
That's
appreciate
cool.
you.
Just wanted to make sure we explained why it's important to before we explain how commissioners work,
Yeah,
because there'd been like a bunch of question marks. So commissioners, we're gonna have the cook covering gold. He was covering gladiators the last couple of seasons, I believe. And then we're gonna have an admin who's responsible over them, helping them out, filling for them when they're not available. And that admin for Cook will be
that's
Glacier
me.
this season.
Yeah,
So
I
we'll see
love
how that.
working with my goldies,
Oh gosh, I can't believe you're talking about Cook like that, man.
special
I
little
have to
baby.
tell him now. I have to tell Cook you
Yeah.
said that about him. But anyways, to Platt, Sypha's been around with us for what, since season 2, like
With what 6, 8 different names? Yeah,
12, 13, something like that. I don't know.
yes, somewhere in there. Yeah,
Yeah. So also gonna have Suave with Sypha, and then also over them will be almost read his name. Asleep. Illicit Sleep will be over them as the admin. For the Diamond, it'll be Filtiar and Kenny Alpha, and then Ted will be over them, and then finally Juan Hennessy and is it Risen or Ryzen? I
I
forget
think it's
their name.
Ryzen,
I
but
thought
we're
so.
adding him in as well.
Yeah,
Moving forward, he's applied to be a commissioner, and we are excited to have him joining the group. And then, yeah, he'll be helping out in the open divisions. Yeah.
absolutely. And Narwhal is going to be double dipping. He's going to not only be the production manager for broadcast, but also over these two as well.
Yo, dude, I asked. He said it's okay. He said it's okay.
Is it? Is it though? Is it really though?
Oh, one thing that I think would be important to hit while we're here, we do have a Spanish-speaking like moderator. Spanish is a first language mod. He is a commissioner. He's an administrator. So any of our teams that are more comfortable in Spanish, feel free to message Filtiarn or tag Filtiarn. Or if you need any help with anything like that, let one of the administrators know, and we can push you to him. We want to make sure that our league is fully accessible to all, even if English is not your first language. So we're going to do our absolute best to make sure all of our LATAM friends are able to play and able to take place, and able to handle, if you will.
100%.
But yeah.
I guess now we could do returning teams.
Yeah.
I think we're finally there.
Oh wait, Spirited, I think you're right. That may change if you guys end up in Diamond. We'll probably move Ryzen or Juan down to Diamond, move Filtern up to Open, because I know you guys won't be in Open. Yeah, we'll make changes to make sure that's all set up, Spirited. Yeah. We'll make sure that's all good.
Yeah, we've already had to make one change once we realized, oh yeah, X player plays for this team that's gonna be in
Yeah,
this team.
exactly.
So,
That's not gonna be any kind of stress at all. We'll be able to make those changes. Yeah, all right. So let's see. Moving into returning teams. So we get questions about this all of the time.
Mhm.
Just about every single season we get these. And our rule of thumb is at the end of a season, if you've showed up to all of your games, if you've been a good competitor, if you've been a good team, and if you're in the top four, you can keep your spot in the league without having to fight through relegations. If you're in the top two, you can move up a division or two if we think that you're good enough, if we think that you qualify. And I'm not going to say if I think that you're going to be the best person in that division, but as long as you're not just like saying, hey, I know that we only won this division by a little bit, but I want to go up 14 divisions to try to grind and get better and get our ass kicked. I'm just going to say, let's meet in the middle somewhere, you know? But
Yeah,
generally
absolutely.
speaking, if you're in the top two, you can keep your spot and move up. And then if you're in the top four, you can say, but our big caveat with that is you have to keep 60% of your main roster. That means 3 main roster players minimum have to stay through a season. Now, I know there's some case by case flex on this, and I think you handle more of that than I do. So do you want
Yeah.
to talk about kind of like the exceptions to the rule if there are any?
Yeah, so an exception I took in consideration last year is, were you clearly better with the other top two teams? Like, were you clearly better than everybody else in the division, and you should have been probably up a division? Yeah, we'll probably let you move up. Are you, say, 0-7? Games have not been close very much at all. We're not just going to be like, screw you, you got to go to relegations for something else. Most of the time, like I think it's better and healthier for the league if we take consideration maybe they were placed too high, maybe they've had a great day at relegations and just performed very well, and then just it didn't translate to the division. So, there's a team last season that it was so close. It was not even close in that division they were taking part of, that they dropped from Gladiators down to Immortals, and they were a contender the entire season until the very end. Or sorry, not Immortals, Savages.
Yeah.
So there's a couple of outliers there. I mean, it's not a guarantee for each division how many there's going to be coming back, especially with like 60% of the teams that break up and form new teams with other people,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
whatnot. You would be surprised how many teams are so much different every season. But generally, if you showed up to every game, if you played, if you didn't cause any scheduling issues constantly, if you showed up, we're trying to be competitive, and it just didn't go well, we're not going to just throw you to the side.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that just about addresses that. So at this point, I think we could probably talk about team names before we go through all of the rule changes and then open it up to open questions.
Sure.
That way we can just do the rule changes last rather than going to that and then going back to this screen. Does that work? Are you good with that?
Oh well, for sure, for sure. I'm
All
ready to
right.
go.
So people ask every single season about, hey, can I use this team name? Hey, can I use this team name? And everyone wants to be a meme, right? I get that. I love meme team names. Like we're having fun out here. We're chilling. Uh, but there's an appropriateness for a public league, and there's a couple things that I take into consideration. Firstly, is it broadcastable to a family audience? The first question that I'm looking at is would you see that team name on a high res broadcast? Would you see it on a Smite game channel? I look at would you see a professional broadcast allow that name both for players? Because if you look at our rules, we do reserve the right to not allow certain player names to play. We've had several players that we've said you're going to either have to change your name or play on an alternate account because we're not going to allow that name to go through. And then same with team names. I think Ted said it the best. If someone's language or someone's words or someone's presentation is making other people feel unwelcome or uncomfortable, then that's not really acceptable. That's not something that we want to have here. So we're just going to be careful with names, careful with making sure they're not super racy because we have minors playing. That they're not super obnoxious, that they're not super gratuitous. Um, Pick a name that you wouldn't mind telling your mom about. And like at the end of the day, if you gotta ask me, is this okay? I know it's probably dumbass, but like, is it cool? It's probably not cool. You can still ask, but just use your brain. Just use your brain on team names and on player names both.
Yeah, I totally agree. I mean, it comes up every single season, just like the 60% rule comes up every time we release signups or right when a season's ending. It's just common like FAQ kind of stuff that feel that it's better to have a highlighted place on our channel to have like going forward for every season so they can
Yeah.
come back to it. But absolutely, team names should be appropriate. Appropriate. He was talking about like meme names, like I'm on part of C Money's team called Mobile Wards, yet nobody on the team wards, so we all just die anyway. So that's the name like that. Cool. If your name is something that should not be there, derogatory or anything like that, yeah, not a chance, not a chance at all.
Like there have been some names that we just straight up said no. Like there was an anti-Semitic racist name. There was some I don't know. There have been some names that we're just like absolutely not. No, thank you. Um, but yeah, yeah. Just use your brain. I don't know. I always say I wish I only had to have two rules. Number one, don't be stupid. Number two, be kind. But because people are stupid and aren't kind, we have to have a whole ass document full of the rules.
Yeah, absolutely.
So yeah.
It's
All
got to
right.
be there
Do
either
we
way.
want to go over the big rule switches moving forward?
Sure. I guess I can
All right.
switch us over to that screen, huh?
All right. Perfect.
All
All
right.
right. I can switch this
Yes.
screen here and then this screen here, and we are good to go. All right. So let's go to. Let's see. What's the first thing that got changed? Um,
Disregarding relegations.
I think yeah, relegations we already went over. General format. I will say we did go ahead and add in games will be played on NA East servers unless both teams agree in writing to play NA West. It is okay to play NA West if both teams want to. However, it is not top seed picks. You're playing in a general NA league. You're playing on East servers unless both teams agree to play on West. Additionally, just pointing out again, we do reserve the right to move both players and teams up and down based on performance. There are times where we say a player is too good to stay in this league and the team is not. So if there's a space for the team and they all want to move up, we allow it sometimes. But if there's not a space to move that entire team up to stay with the player, we have told people that they just can't play with that player and they either have to find a sub or withdraw. Again, it's just we want to keep it as fair as possible for everyone else. Let's go over scheduling. I think we already, nothing changed there. Communication, nothing changed there. Let's see, team scheduling. I think we did go ahead and talk about rescheduling, scheduling extensions, the default time, and then we added something. Do you want to talk about this, the default time? Because we've had some issues. We instituted a default time that you can reschedule from a couple seasons back in order to take out, hey, we can't mesh up at a time. No one agrees. So who gets the free points? At the end of the day, we're not here to have you guys we're not here to have you guys play in our league and get to be AG league. You know, I just think that we're here to facilitate you guys getting to play Smite at the end of the day. So I wanted to make the scheduling as easy as possible, but it has ran into some issues, right? Sometimes both teams can't make the default time and they can't agree on a rescheduled time. And Busha, I know that that's been an issue that you've been really thinking about, really trying to work on. So I'll let you kind of go over how we've decided to address that.
Yeah, absolutely. So in situations where both teams they can't make the default time, as you said, but neither team can really schedule another time or reschedule. Um, you know, they're given the schedule to commissioner now, and it'll be as follows. So times they can play with the starting roster was one of those things. Um, and they will also give them times that they can play with one sub and times they can play with two subs. The commissioner will then work with both teams to select the fairest time for the match that week. So this is only if you both can't make the default time and both cannot agree on a rescheduled time.
And the reason we're putting that in there, I think, is we've had several teams just say we can't play unless our starting five is there, and just force the enemy team to use subs. And I don't think that's appropriate. I don't think it's fine to say we refuse to play with a sub, so you're going to have to conform to our schedule. But I also don't think it's appropriate to force that team to play to the other team's schedule with a sub. And so I think it's best if we do what we can to work together to find a schedule that works for everyone. But in order to make sure it's fair, we're going to have the commissioners get involved in those situations.
Yes, and also there have been several cases where we've allowed teams to reschedule for the next week as long as it didn't interfere with that week's schedule. But if it's week 7, that's impossible to do. So just keep that in mind. So
Yeah.
it's there as another last ditch effort to make sure you can play your games. But on week 7, last week before playoffs, sorry, but playoffs are going to start.
Yeah. Something else that we have ran into is reschedules are allowed only when both teams agree to reschedule. However, sometimes teams just ghost and say, we're going to play the default time. And so they just don't talk to you. And you say, hey, when can you schedule the match? We can't really make Saturday. Let's reschedule. And then you just don't get a response. And then you reach out to a commissioner and the commissioner doesn't get a response. And then the team shows up at Saturday at 7 to play and you're just screwed because they didn't talk to you. And so we did also add something in under subpoint F. Both teams do have to actually talk before the scheduling deadline. So if they're saying, no, fuck you, we're playing Saturday at 7, figure it out. That is their right to do because you are signing up to play Saturday at 7 unless both teams can reschedule. However, they must communicate that before the scheduling deadline.
Yeah, there were several cases this season and even in the previous season where the team just does not reply at all until like Friday. Yeah, we're playing default time. Like it should not work that way, especially if you've got 4 days and times to offer versus their no response at all. It feels bad to punish a team for somebody else not responding, and it's something we want to make better going forward for sure.
All right, so let's move down to format. Big thing here, nothing has changed. We no longer have the EU region, so we don't have to worry about that. One big thing here, spectator pass. You do not have to set a spectator pass, but if you do, it has to be AG or AGL. That's for our broadcasters. If you set a spec pass and it's not AG or AGL, our broadcasters will send you a strongly worded email and be very disappointed in you. On the real, though, that's just a respect thing. We're not going to kick you out of the league for setting a shitty password. But please just use AG or AGL if you're setting your spec passes. You have to submit your screenshots anyway, so people are going to know what you're playing. You can't hold your picks. Allow our casters to cast you, okay? Just help us out on that, please, if you don't mind. I don't think anything else is really that big of a deal in the format. I will tell you, we do have this written out. There's a limit of up to 10 minutes between games in a set, so you can have some time to take coaching, but you don't just get to sit there 20 minutes, waste someone's time, waste someone's momentum, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Moving down to player eligibility. I don't think we've changed much, if anything. I think the one thing that we're talking about is under C, account restrictions. If you are switching from console to PC account switches, you, the player in question, you have to provide me proof of ownership of both accounts in question. And then you're going to have to leave both accounts unhidden for the duration of league activities. I have people all the time say, hey, I'm a PS4 player, but I'm trying to switch to PC. Which account do you want me to submit? And what I do is I put in, hey, this is the account that the guy's playing in, and then I put a little note underneath saying, hey, this is his main account. He's a PS4 player. You can guru him either way. And if you get to scout everyone else, they should be able to scout you. That's the way I look at it. Just make sure that we can prove that it's your account, leave both of them unhidden, and allow us to list both in the roster doc for everyone else.
Yes, it's
Yeah.
for fair competitive integrity's sake.
All right. Do you want to go over eligibility? I know we already talked about it, but do you want to just show everyone, read it through real quick, just make sure everyone kind of has that in front of their eyes, not just their ears?
Yeah, absolutely. I'll shoot through from A to G. So is professional players who are currently under contract on an SPL or SCC roster, or have not been within a pass with it, or have not been within the past season, or eligible to compete. So if you're an SPL player, or if you're an SCC currently, or within a past season, you can not compete. It's pretty clear. So SOC below, you're good. Pretty much. Age restrictions: players must be eligible to play under the High Risk Studios terms and conditions. If you don't know those, you can look them up. It's under terms of service, I'm sure. Account restrictions, he just went over. So we'll just scooting on out down to D. So D is there's no smurfing allowed. You'll be surprised
That includes account sharing.
that this
That
happens.
does, in fact,
It
include account sharing.
it does, because they're both. I mean, account sharing is against terms of service, and we had to ban a team that was ban-evading a player on their roster, and they've known it for at least 3 or 4 months.
What, 2 seasons?
Yeah,
Yeah.
2 AGL seasons, 3, 4, 5, 6 months, something like that.
Yeah.
Um, you'll be surprised. It's crazy how that happens, but it just does. But smurfing's not allowed, and if you're account sharing, it's against service, and you go.
We do
Um,
get this question. Honestly, we actually do get this question. If your main account gets banned, no, you cannot play on an alternate account. When your main account is banned, you are not allowed to play the game. If you play on an alternate account and you tell us what that alternate account is while your main account is banned, we are required to report you to Hi-Rez and you may lose both accounts. So don't fucking tell me that stuff, please.
or do so we
Thank
can
you.
get you reported.
Like if you do, I am required to report you to Hi-Rez. So like, don't ask if you can play on a X alt, and don't tell me you're playing on X alt in your casual games. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, amount of times we have to explain that to each individual it happens to, which is not a lot to be fair, but when it does happen, you
Yeah.
go.
I think we already talked about E and F
We
a
did.
little bit earlier, so I think you can just skip over. We even talked about G just a little bit,
Yeah.
but if you want to just quick zip through that,
Yep.
just so that they can see it.
So
Yeah.
G is for the eligibility for divisions. So gold, you can be up to plat 3 or 1800 MMR, and you can improve up to plat 1 or 1900 MMR. Anything over that, and we're gonna have to review you and your eligibility for that division. And scroll down. Here we go. Plat, starting anywhere below up to Diamond 3 at 2150 MMR. You can improve to Diamond 1 at 2350 MMR. And if you get the Masters or clear 2400, you will be individually reviewed. For Diamond, you are allowed to hit Masters, but if you are individually cleared 2700, you'll be reviewed. And if you clear 3000 MMR, you're not going to be eligible to play in that division. Players may play in division according to their rank, remember, and players are not allowed to play divisions below their rank. So you can't be a diamond player playing in a gold division. That's
Like,
just
is my solo lane legitimately gold? Yes, but my game knowledge and comms are not. So it gives my team an unfair advantage, even if my horrific mechanics and complete lack of ability to solo better than a literal Hercules bot uh, makes me a complete liability in lane. That does not change the fact that you have higher level experience in how to play the game as a team.
Yeah, absolutely. I had a hard time letting a team play lower this past season. I ended up dropping out of the first week anyway, but there were 3 players that are always in diamond with 2 players that were in gold that had not been playing the game a whole lot. and they wanted to play in a gold division. Nah, we can't do that. We eventually let them play in Immortals, which was aimed to be low plat, and still didn't feel good about it. But at the same point in time, we gave it a shot just to see how it would go. So I mean, sometimes things happen, but going forward, we're no longer allowing that whatsoever. So if you're a gold team and you've got a diamond player, it's not going to happen. Sorry, you're going to have to make a roster change to play.
All right. Let's see. All of this stuff is stuff that we will be looking at. We'll be individually reviewing everyone. We'll be double checking everything. We may approve players based on their history and performance in this league and other leagues, regardless of what their ranks say. We also may disapprove players based on their history and performance. I know there's a player in Barbarians that a team wanted to let in. And we reviewed him, and I said absolutely not. I've seen him be playing in plat and higher areas. He does well in plat. He's a very solid player, and I don't think he should be in gold and below. Does he make that team automatically the best team there? I don't know if he individually does that, but individually as a player, he is not eligible, in my opinion, to play here. And there was a big pushback, and there were some memes and stuff. And so as administrators, we said, you know what, let's talk to the captains, let's get their thought. And I said, hey, if all of you captains agree to let this guy in your league, then that's fine. But here's all of the info I have on him. Here's all the info I have on his level. Here's all the info I have on his history. It's up to you guys to decide what you think. If you guys genuinely feel like you want to compete against this guy, then we'll let him in. But we're not going to allow him due to a couple of teams' social pressure. And that alone, when we don't think he's the best fit for this league. And it was split. Some teams said, you know, screw it, let him in. I like the guy, he's a good guy. Other teams said, hey, we signed up to play against gold and below players. I don't want to be playing against plat and above players. If I wanted to do that, I would have signed up for a plat division. And both of those people are completely valid. So we do approach everything on a very individualistic basis, on a very case-by-case basis, and we do try to use our best discretion. But these are guidelines, so you know what you're walking into up front.
100%. All
right. Rosters. The biggest rosters change thing is that coaches can now substitute for their teams without having to also take up a sub slot. Coaches can sub for their teams without having to also be listed as a sub in cases of emergency. However, your coach has to meet the following requirements. First off, he has to meet the eligibility. And then secondly, he has to have been previously vetted to make sure that he actually does. Like, so you have to actually request, hey, check my coach real quick. I might need him to sub. Check him, see if he's eligible. And then we will mark coaches who have been ruled eligible to play in the rosters doc so everyone is aware of that. I don't believe there's any other crazy roster change issues. If you guys want to see the rules as they have been, you are free to read them, but I don't think anything there changed for those of you guys who already knows what that is.
Yeah, the rest of everything is just the same. When he says we will mark them on the roster, if they're highlighted green, the coach, that means they're eligible to play as a sub in that division. If they're highlighted red, that means no, they are not eligible to play in that division. So if we vet your coach and you're a gold team and he's a diamond coach, there is no way we're going to allow that player to play in a gold league game. It's just not going to happen.
Yeah.
Just
but honestly, some coaches may be close enough to your level that they can and should be allowed to play. So yeah. it is valid to just ask. And hey, don't feel bad about asking. Ask us. Worst that happens is we say no. So yeah, there we go. I think that just about does it for rosters. Team captain responsibilities have not changed. Content restrictions have not changed. One thing that I'll tell you guys, just to make sure you know, if your enemy team is using a banned skin, you can restart it if they pause before the minion spawn. If minions spawn and you guys start playing the game, then you lose to an ability that you didn't see because it's a BS skin. That's on you for not realizing it ahead of time. I am sorry. But I cannot just say restart the game because he doesn't like the sound effects on this skin if you did not realize it ahead of time. That's the only real important thing there that's not just basic common knowledge. No shows and forfeitures. We did change this up a little bit. Teams will have 15 minutes to begin their games from the scheduled start time. So if you're there and the enemy team is not, you do still have stay 15 minutes. However, after that first game forfeiture, the second game forfeiture will only be an extra 5-minute wait. So 15 minutes for game one, but only 5 more minutes for game two. And that means 20 minutes after a scheduled start time, your whole set will be forfeited if you cannot field a valid roster. So again, to recap, 15 minutes to make game one. After you've forfeited game one, you only have 5 extra minutes to make it to game two.
And just to give this a little bit of background, it was 10 minutes in season 5 per game. Previously, it was 15 minutes per game in seasons 3 and before. This is just a quality of life. They call it a shift when they talk about patch notes. So if they're not going to show up in 15 minutes, they're likely not going to show up in the last 5 minutes. So if they're not there in 50 minutes, you only get the first one. You just wait 5 more minutes for the second one. It gives you time to find potential scrims in place of the match if the match doesn't happen and all that stuff. So it just gives you more time to figure stuff out. So your entire time that you've set is not wasted, and you have time to work on that.
All right, so let's see. Moving on. Pauses and remakes, I don't think really got any kind of change other than we did add something for servers crashing. We have always ruled this way, but we realized when we went through our rules to double check everything, we did not have this. Go ahead and scroll down to point J. It's on the next screen. In cases where servers crash during a match and the surrendered conditions are not met, to be clear, the surrender conditions are that the losing team has to be down 10,000 gold or more and 2 phoenixes. So if servers crash before you are up 10k gold and have 2 phoenixes off the map, then you're just going to have to restart the game with the same drafts. I'm sorry. I understand that that's crappy. I understand that that's not fun. I understand that it's crap to have a game plan, start the game, have success with it, and then give the other team an extra chance to adjust to your game plan. But there's no better way to do this. There just isn't. We discussed several different options. If you don't meet the surrender conditions, the match, if it's fully just crashed by servers, has to be remade with the same draft. No SB. The game has to be remade same draft for those conditions.
Yeah,
We
this
did
was
discuss
discussed
that,
that for
but I
a
think it's
long
fair.
time.
We spent what, probably 20 minutes discussing that when we did our meeting.
Yeah, when we did the meeting, and then before that, like over text, we probably discussed it over several weeks. Like
Yeah.
not like instantly once, but it's come up multiple times. And we always think about or look for things to improve the next season going forward. So if there's something that happened in week 2 that we think, oh man, we should have thought about that, or should think about this, and look how to improve it going forward, like that's going to be on the books for like a couple months when we're going to have a list of things to go over anyway and discuss. So
Yep. All right. 2.10, we added in a strike system for match reporting. Do you want to go over match reporting?
yeah, I'll do the entire
2.10D. Just go over D because everyone knows the rest of it. It hasn't changed since the first day of season 1.
yeah, true.
But that last point, we want to make sure that matches get reported. At the end of the day, there are some teams, there are some coaches, there are some levels at which people just go, someone will get screenshots, right? And then they just don't have them.
Yeah, it's very much unfortunate, and it'll be more unfortunate for the team and captain that do not do this. I mean, it's in the captain responsibility. So 210D match reporting. In cases of matches failing to be reported correctly, there is a 3-strike system we've implemented. Strike 1 is a written warning to the captain. The second strike is a 1-set suspension for the captain in question. So, if this happens in week 6 and they get given a set suspension, they are not allowed to play in week 7, for an example. Strike 3, a 3-point deduction for the team in question. So not only have you played a game without captain, you have lost 3 points because your captain is continuing to not properly report the matches in the match report channel. That affects your seeding. That could affect you getting in or out of the playoffs. So we've got to take it serious. And then each strike, last thing, strike 2 and 3 will be reviewed by management themselves, not the commissioner, but management.
Yeah, Moginar will be personally reviewing all of that. The reason this may look harsh, genuinely, but the reason that we've done this is because there are some teams that just genuinely do not take it seriously. If you mess up, if someone's out of town and your captain told, hey, you, dude who never takes screenshots, remember to take screenshots, and then you're as scatterbrained as I am and you don't, honestly, dude, I get that. It sucks, but we can work with both teams, double check everything, get the info that we can get. I understand shit happens. But if you do it twice, then that's the captain being either incompetent or not apathetic. And then if it happens 3 times, that is just, in my opinion, malicious stupidity. Again, without a bunch of really crap stuff happening a lot. So we will review strike 2 and strike 3 before we just slam, bam, you're done. But we want to take it seriously, and it's difficult for us to be in situations that could potentially result in a team not getting the points that they should get. So make sure you get screenshots for each game. Any individual game that you win must be reported by you. So if me and Majin are playing each other and I win game 1, I have to post game 1. Then if he wins game 2, he has to post game 2. And then if he wins game 3, he has to post game 3. I can't just take a screenshot of game 1 and then say, oh, well, he won the set, so he's responsible for game 1. The team captain that wins the game must report the game 1. That goes for both teams. So make sure you're getting your screenshots. Make sure you're submitting them properly, because we are going to start taking this really seriously this season, in order to help out our commissioners, in order to help out our staff.
Yeah, and we really only need the results screen and the details screen. So the results screen is when you first come up and it shows the match ID, how long the game took, and all that, and then also the detail
The
screen where it
details, the
shows
stats screen.
stats screen where it shows you all the player stats, also the players that partook in the game as well, and it does show that match ID on the top left as well, just to verify it was that game.
Yep. All right. I don't think anything broadcasting is being changed. Reminder, you are responsible if there's any outside aid, advice, or assistance allowed in your stream chat, whether from coaches, viewers, or teammates. At Colin, you are responsible for no. That's a big boy throwback.
Yo,
But guys, you don't have to be on a 3-minute delay. It is not required, because honestly, I can't police that. I can't check everyone's stream. I can't have people come to me whining and saying, hey, this player doesn't have their stream on a 3-minute. I could not care less. However, if you don't have a delay on and you are receiving coaching that affects your competitive integrity of the game, that will be a forfeiture. I don't take shit. Like that will be a forfeiture. You are streaming at your own risk. If there are any rule violations in your stream that damage the competitive integrity of a set, you will be held responsible for them. And then also, we will not be responsible to police stream sniping, ghosting, etc. If you do not have your stream set with a delay, if you do not have your stream set with a sufficient delay, etc., then you are leaving yourself open to that. If you want to stream competitive games, you are doing so at your own risk. You may not broadcast via Discord screen sharing with people who aren't in the game with you, Steam sharing, anything like that. Reason being is because remember, your Coach is not allowed to be in the voice channel with you while you're in the game. We have banned an entire team before for cheating in the middle of the game with their coach in comms with them, and we found that out because someone reported it on stream. So just remember, you're streaming at your own risk. Please don't be a fucking dumbass. That's all I ask. At the end of the day, if you're not a dumbass, I don't have to babysit you. Like, that's good for me. Did we change anything with the code of conduct?
Man, I don't think we touched code of conduct.
I
I think
really
it's the
don't either.
same. I will touch
I
on
really don't.
broadcast just real quick. Just
Uh,
this comes up every season. So for all games that are spectated fully and properly, they have a chance to be broadcast. When I say fully and properly, they must at least have been spectating from before minion spawn to 1 second after minion spawn. The reason why that's important is because if you do that, it'll catch everything from picks and bans all the way to the end of the game. If the person starts 5 minutes into the game, we get picks and bans, we won't get the first 5 minutes of the game. So if that's gonna happen, we're probably not gonna
yeah, we can only stream
stream it.
complete games, folks. Like,
Yeah, so
I'm
please
not
make
I'm
sure.
not gonna half-ass it.
Yeah, so please make sure it's streamed properly, and we will, if we have the ability to and we can do it, then we'll stream the set, potentially. But otherwise, if it's not, then it's not gonna happen. Just point blank.
All right, cool. Just to go over 2.15, all rules and formatting are eligible for amendment throughout the season. If something's pointed out to us that we could do something better, we will discuss it. We will do our best to address it. We will do our best to provide the highest quality product that we're able to. And then any significant rules amendment or addition will be announced both to our staff and to team captains to make sure everyone's aware. Other than that, I think we've gone over all of the important changes. I'm going to scroll through everything real quick. We're only doing NA and collegiate. Coaches as subs were good. Yeah, I think that's everything. So I think we just open it up to questions. If anyone in chat has questions at this time, now's your opportunity. I think we do want to go back and check. I think Redacted has a question. What happens if no one's streaming the match, servers crash, and teams disagree on if the win conditions were met or not? Genuinely, if there's no evidence of, do you want to switch back to the picture screen?
Yeah, sorry.
The video screen. Yeah. No, you're good.
Go.
Yeah. If we don't have any evidence of a game, if both teams aren't going to say, that the win conditions were met, then honestly, I can't force a team to F6. I appreciate it if you're honest. I understand that you may not be honest, but I can't. If I cannot prove that the win conditions were met, I'm not going to enforce a forfeiture. I'm not going to give an auto win to a team that can't report their auto win. I'd like both teams. If both teams agree. Almost every single time we've had a service crash, both teams have kind of agreed, said, hey, it's around this amount of time in. There's around this big of a lead. This is how the game feels right now. But I've never really ran into that issue. But yeah, if we were to run into that issue, then we'd gather all the information possible, see what we can do. And if we absolutely cannot make an obvious ruling that it's a forfeiture, then no, we will not be giving a free win. Yeah. Reschedules when servers go down. Oh, yeah. If servers go down in the middle of a set, doesn't look like you're going to be able to finish your set, you are allowed to reschedule the rest of it. Most of the time, we say you have to play your set within 1 day. If Hi-Rez decides to say no, you cannot, then you're good to reschedule that. We'll work with you guys on that. Sometimes it can't happen that week. You might have scheduled for Saturday night, and you guys aren't available till Thursday or Friday. Honestly, stuff happens. If it's not your fault, if it's Hi-Rez's fault, we're good with that.
Nobody's asked this in chat, but I every season get a lot of questions about gym payouts and stuff. So I want to go ahead and hit that here. So
Yeah.
here's how it works. When you do the sign up form, we ask you support IDs for the players on your roster at the time. Of course, like you're gonna might have some changes over time. There's roster changes form, which asks you for the ID then for that player and whatnot. So once the roster lock happens at the end of the season, so that
Yep.
or at the regular season, I should say, so weeks 6 or 7, whichever we decide that season we think is appropriate, we decide before the
It's
season
after week
starts.
7. It's
After week
after the
7,
last week of round robin play.
yeah,
It's when you play, when you load in to your match lobby for your first round of the finals tournament, you're automatically roster locked at that point.
right,
12 gauge. There are not going to be forced fewer divisions. It's just that we are no longer doing low gold, medium gold, high gold, gold plat, low plat, medium plat, high plat to slash low diamond to low diamond to mid diamond to we're doing gold, plat, diamond, open for
yeah.
masters players. It's not that we're making less teams available to play. It's not that we're cutting down on the number of divisions. It's just that we're no longer providing bridge divisions to Timbuktu.
And at the end of the day, like every season we don't know how many teams are going to sign up. You know, we don't know that until it happens. The
Yeah.
first season we had 2 NA divisions. We had 1 EU division. It grew to 4 NA divisions to season 2. Grew to 5 season 6 or season
Yeah.
3. Season 4
I think season.
we had 8, and then this season we
Yeah.
had 9 NA divisions. That's 72 teams. So
Yeah.
like if it can
I know
happen
we
realistically
boomed
and
to.
the competitive fairness, it can happen. But
Yeah. I know we boomed up to I think season 3, maybe season 4. I think it was season 3 that we boomed up, and then season 4 we boomed down a little bit, and then season 5 we absolutely exploded again. I could be wrong on that, but usually it's a big season, a small season, a big season, a small season. I think
right.
season 2 may have been the big one, and then season 3 was small again, and then season 4 was
Yep.
like 350 to 400, and then season 5 was over I think 500 after we count collegiate
Yeah,
different participants.
so
Um,
when you count collegiate, 12 divisions of 8, if or 12 divisions, 8 teams, 5 players per team at minimum, that's 480. And
yeah,
then you've got your subs, you've got coaches. At the end of the day, it's like 550 players, 560
yeah,
players.
yeah,
So and think about this, like once all those divisions are done and playing and we get to submit all those gem forms for each division, it's 2 people handling that. It's myself and Agasari. So when we get it all together and ready, which will be, that's going to be the focus point after the finals are done this weekend. Like once that happens and we submit it, it's on high res from there. So,
yeah. And again, they have one person that does it.
yep,
They don't make any money from community tournaments.
right.
All that our gem sheet is the biggest amount of extra work that one of their people gets on a 3-month basis. They just get to
Yes.
have a shitty day at work where they have to spend hours entering numbers into like they have to split numbers from a spreadsheet to a program on their computer. They don't get paid to do that. That's just something that they have to handle because they allow us to run community tournaments sponsored by them. So it
Yeah,
is not a
exactly.
priority for them. I hate to say it like this, but you get your gems when you get them. We do our best
Yeah.
to make sure that they're put in a timely manner. We do our best to make sure that they're put in correctly. We do mess up time to time, but generally speaking, it has been 1 or 2 mess ups per season maximum across again 500 different players. So I'd say
Right.
we do a pretty good job. But then once we submit that, honestly, it is Hi-Rez's. I don't want to say Hi-Rez's job, but Hi-Rez is the one who determines when they get out. And then
Yeah.
the gems will show up in your account as a refund. They'll say refund 2,400 gems if you won the
That's
division
me.
or whatever. Oh, God damn it, SB.
Still
Damn
waiting on
it.
those season 2 gems, SB, from OCL, 3
Yeah,
years ago?
I'm
Is
still
that
waiting on my season 1 admin gems, SB. I'm still waiting on the
you
season 1
might want to
admin
talk to a
gems.
certain admin that,
Damn it. Yeah.
But yeah, guys,
All
like
right.
seriously, we got 560 support IDs to go through. I've got 90 something captains to DM to make sure how the gems want to be split out. Once all that stuff is square and taken care of, everything gets submitted, and we have to just wait on high res for them. I want to
Yeah.
give an
Yeah.
example. Remember when Worlds happened? See, we had our 3rd season, It
Oh
took 2
Lord,
months for that
that's
to
correct.
pay out because World is a
It
priority for
literally.
one, and then pandemic started. So they
Yeah.
had less staff, they had less time to work in their office.
And they
So
weren't set up to work
and they
from home yet. Like it was a
exactly.
mess.
They weren't set up. What happened in season 4 is a similar thing. They're trying to start the SPL season and they're trying to work start trying to find ways to get people into the building so they can do work. So it took 2 months for that too. Like just
Yeah.
because we submit them, let's say tomorrow, it doesn't mean it's going to happen next week or the week after. We will know once we get an email from whoever's processing those gems for us on Hyra's side. And when we knew that, we make an announcement in the server. That's how we just go about it. The first season we ever ran it, we had it in 3 days. You know why? We had 24 different teams total across 3 divisions. So we're going, not even 100 support IDs. We're 5 times that plus some now. So it's just going to take time. I don't mind you guys DMing me asking. I'm just clarifying that all up front. It just takes time.
All right. Yeah. I think that pretty much does it for us, though. If you don't have anything else that you think needs to be talked over, if no one has any questions in the chat, I think we can kind of chill a little bit. I think we went over everything that we talked about going over. Let me double check. Talked about org schedule, release changes, returning teams, new divisional changes, team names, rule changes. We went over staff.
Baron definitely rules. I don't care what Baron hater says.
Yeah.
He rules.
I'm gonna have to say I think Baron sucks until 30 minutes, and I think Baron is stupidly good. So I'm gonna go ahead and say
I'm not being
Baron is.
factual about it. I'm just saying I love the character.
I don't know. I just think Baron sucks because they didn't like they tried to be so extra with his design that they ended up just fucking him. And if they would take off all the extra crap and just give him damage on his abilities, he would be such a phenomenal character. But he has 18 million
Yeah.
different little side effects for every ability in his passive, and then he doesn't actually get to play the game because he's so worried about all those. I don't know. Yeah.
What the group plays gonna look like for
Spirited,
Rose.
it's gonna be soft seeded ish, either six to 8 teams per group. If it's 8 teams, you're playing 7 games. If it's 16, if it's 6 teams, you're playing 5 games, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. We don't want to do lower than 6 if possible, and we're willing to go to like maybe 9 if we have to. But our goal is to have groups of 6 or 8. So yeah, you will not have to play every other plat team that signs up. Don't worry.
Yeah, it won't. You
Gauge,
won't be
there
hitting
is
for
no set number. You could not win any relegations games and still get in because we have the space for you to get in, right? So it really just depends on the needs of the division that you're in. There is
It does.
no set number. It depends on everyone else's performance. It depends on your performance, and then it's based on how many spots need to be filled in your division. Yeah, no, Narwhal, great
Yeah.
wording, dude.
It's
Great
based
wording.
on how many spots need to be filled per division. For example, last season I think Immortals needed 2 spots, Savages needed 6 spots. Like
Yeah,
you just can't put it there. We
it
don't
just
know.
depends. Yeah, I can't
Like
tell you a number.
I think we had 25 plat teams sign up last season. Maybe it was crept up to
It
27
was something
after,
ridiculous like that.
but it
Yeah,
was ridiculous. And what was more ridiculous is normally we get like 9 or 10 diamond signups. We had 23. So that's why you saw the
which
second
is a
division
good
end.
problem to have.
It's a good problem, and I love trying to solve it for sure. But we can't just say, "Oh, it's going to be 3 plat divisions. We're going to have 16 spots open across those 3." We don't know, because we've got to see the signups. We've got to see what teams are returning. If those teams are returning, are they eligible to not go through relegations potentially? Like it's just there's so many things to go to it. So we can't really give you a concrete answer until relegations day. Really, it's just that much information.
Yeah, if you sign up for Diamond and your entire team is eligible for Plat, and it's obvious that you're actually playing and not just trying to get into Plat by sucking in Diamond rallies, then there's a potential. But your team more than likely should end up in Diamond. Sandbagging means purposely throwing games or purposely not winning games as cleanly as you ought to, or stacking. Yeah, like stacking the games to make yourself look worse or better than you actually are. Basically, that's
Yeah,
what I mean by sandbagging. But yeah, if your team is completely all eligible for plat, which I don't think it is, but I don't remember the exact details. I know someone said them at one point, but yeah, there's a possibility of something like that happening. Um, but yeah, there's a potential of that. Everything's going to be handled case by case basis. I can't promise you that you'll get into plat if you lose all your diamond games. I can't promise you that you won't. We're just going to have to see what we need, where we need it, and who fits those slots.
yeah, and we're gonna try to broadcast some relegations games this year. So we're gonna try to have some of those spectated. We're gonna and they're best of ones, so we could probably fit in like 4, 5, 6. I mean, we have multiple days we can cast too.
Yeah. We'll have like
So
what 3-4 days total,
3 or
counting the day
4,
of.
yeah, by Monday night really, because Tuesday you never know if you get a hot patch or a
Yeah,
regular patch or anything
yeah,
on
that's
live
right.
with
That's
match
right.
IDs. That's one thing I will explain. So in North America, match IDs last for 96 hours on the dot. So from the time you start your game to the end of that game, you've got 96 hours from the start of that game for it to be eligible. So if you play on Tuesday, our broadcast days right now, and this could, like, we might be able to add a time slot or day or whatever, but right now are Saturday, Sunday, and Monday, right? If you play on Tuesday, you've got Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. You're probably not going to be able to be casted because Saturday's the first day currently. But we'll see how that goes. I mean, we might be able to add more days. Who knows? It's just a season to season basis. So we'll just see from there.
All right, cool. I think that does it for us. Unless you got anything else you want to talk about, real quick, Majin. For me, thanks everyone for coming. Thanks everyone for signing up for season 6. Looking forward to seeing what the new season brings.
Absolutely. And just don't forget to sign up. I mean, see money. You said you're gonna wait till
Yeah.
August 13th, but don't know how I feel about that. But
Yeah, let's go ahead and blast sign up links in the chat. We'll blast rallies just so you can see it. And then final will be rules doc, just so everyone has it there. All this info can be found in multiple places on the Discord. And if you can't find it on the Discord, don't feel too stupid to ask someone, ask a league management person, ask a staff member. We're here to help. But yeah, with that, everyone have a great night. Have a great weekend. And we will see you soon.
thanks for coming out.